Hello folks, we are going to fill out our object color wheel brainstorming sheet in preparation for painting our object color wheel. Now you should have this sheet in your packet. I also have a link to it in one of the modules if you lost yours for some reason. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is brainstorm. On the lines below, list 3 roundish objects you could use for your color wheel. Remember that they will be simple outlines filled with color. So roundish, right? I could do something like a snail. I like snails, so that would be fun. Pear, which is kind of roundish, and if I wanted to be a little bit more traditional in the round, I could say a pizza. Okay. Step 2, put a star next to the one you want to draw. Well, I've already thought about it, and I want to draw a pear. All right, step 3, sketch. In the box below, sketch your object. You might notice that this is already divided into sections. These will be the different colors on your color wheel. So this will help you kind of figure out, okay, well, how will my object look once it's been broken into smaller shapes? I thought about this in advance and I knew I wanted to do a pear. So I'm just going to sketch my pear. I'm going to look at kind of the biggest shape and say, well, that's kind of like a circle. So I'll draw a big circle there. And I'll say, well, the top of that, that's kind of like a rounded triangle. So I'll do a rounded triangle there. And it kind of has a scoop at the top. So this doesn't have to be the best drawing on the planet. There's kind of a scoop at the bottom. I just want to get a sense of how it's going to look when I divide my paper into shapes, and then I want to label things. So just a practice sketch, kind of like a warm-up. You're stretching your artistic sensibilities. Okay, so there is my pear. I'm going to clean this up a tiny bit. Okay, that's good enough. What I need to do now is I need to label my sections. So I'd really like it if you could pause and get to this part and then follow along with me, because this gets a little confusing. You want to have it sorted out now and not when you start painting, because it's really easy to make a mistake and paint something the wrong section, and then it's really hard to fix it. So go ahead and pause now. I'll just sit here and think about things, and then we'll come back together and we will label our paper. Okay, so hopefully you paused and you labeled you drew your object, your kind of roundish object. Now we're going to label our paper. So right here, somewhere in the background of this top one, we are going to label yellow. In the background to the right, we are going to label yellow, orange. In this section here, and maybe I want to turn my paper, we're going to label orange. Some of you probably know what's coming next. This is going to be red dash orange or red orange. Go ahead and pause if you need to get caught up. It's yellow, yellow orange, orange, red orange. And you can probably guess what comes next. That's red. Moving around the corner, that's going to be red violet, another fancy word for red purple. And in the very bottom, opposite yellow in the background space, we're going to label violet, another fancy word for purple. Go ahead and pause if you need to get caught up. Once you have violet, we'll do blue violet. Notice that the primary color always comes first in the name. It's not violet blue, it's blue violet. There's a little dash in between. And then over here, we're gonna do blue, followed by blue green. Make sure you write these down. and green. And then in this top hand corner, halfway between yellow and green is yellow, green. I'll post a picture of this too in case you can't read my handwriting from there or from close. I'll do my best to write tidily. Okay, this is the important part. Now that we have our colors established, we need to say what's going to be on the inside. So if yellow is in the background, the opposite is going to be on the inside. So the opposite of yellow is purple or violet. So this part here, if the background is yellow, this is going to be violet. And then by the same token, this is going to be yellow. So it's the opposite color inside. I like to start with the primaries and secondaries because I know them the best. Like I know that blue and orange are opposites. So I'll do blue here and then orange here. And orange is here, so I'll do blue here. Blue, blue. All right, I know that red and green are opposites. So if red is in the background, I'm going to do green on the inside. And if green is in the background, I'm going to do red on the inside. For these 2-word ones, the tertiaries, you can also just do, what am I trying to say? Initials. So for blue, violet, instead of writing out yellow, orange, I could just do YO. And then same thing here. Instead of writing blue, violet, I could do BV. BV, yellow, green's opposite is red, violet. So I'll do RB. Red, violet's opposite is yellow, green. So I'll do YG. Blue, green's opposite is red, orange. So I'll do RO. Red, orange's opposite is blue, green. So I'll do BG. It is also not a bad idea to color these in with a colored pencil. Even if you're not coloring the whole thing, just to do a little swatch. That's going to help you when you go to paint. It's so easy to paint the wrong section. So I encourage you to use some colored pencils and color this in. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I'm going to cut to the end where this was all colored. You don't need to watch me color it in. So let's hop back in just a minute when this is all colored. Okay, we're back. So I've colored in the color wheel. Some of them I had to mix. So to do the blue violet, I had to put a little bit of purple and blue. And for the blue green, I had to mix a little of teal and green. But otherwise, it was pretty easy. I can kind of look at it and make sure everything is in its right place. Like if I'm looking and they're slowly changing from one color to another and I had one in the wrong spot, it'd be pretty easy to see. So that's why we do this, just to make sure that we know where everything goes once we go to paint. When you turn this in, please make sure I can read it. So please get a nice clear photo because I'm actually going to be checking to make sure that you have things in the correct spot. If you don't think you can get a really clear photo, then absolutely do color it in, and that way I can double check that you have everything in the right spot. Okay, yep, make sure it's labeled. Coloring is optional, but highly encouraged for your sake as well as for my ability to grade it, and have fun.